Okay, so
So,
while we're bringing in our next guest.
okay. And the Curtis won it already.
Oh,
So I
always.
don't know how he does that.
Are you sending him the answer on the slide?
I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, Curtis, kudos to you because before I can even get the question out, you have the answer.
See,
So,
I'm glad you now send me the question in advance because I used to have to type it in while you were reading it.
right, right.
Typing, people would already have the answer. So I said, okay.
Yeah. So now I send it to you in advance. So at least you can just drop it in, copy and paste. So our next guest is Veronica Chapman. Veronica was on the show a couple of years ago when she was launching her Black Children's Book Week. And
Yes.
so she's back again. We wanted to try to get her on before um, the book week, but we weren't able to get her scheduled. So she just ended the book week, or is this the end of the book week? Is it still going on, or was it last week?
This past Saturday was the final
The
day.
last day.
Well,
Okay.
but to be honest, like events happen on Sunday as well.
Okay. So Veronica, for those who weren't watching the show during that time or don't remember, what is the Black Children's Book Week all about, and why did you think it's important to start it?
Sure. So, Black Children's Book Week is a global celebration of Black children and the power of Black representation in children's books. So, it's a week to show some extra love to our children and to those who make sure that they are represented in books and other children's media, especially Black authors and, um, yeah, so illustrators.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you have it right at the tail end of Black History Month. So it kind of extends the month.
Right. It actually, so yes, it was kind of like a joke because um it was a joke because one, there's a couple of things. I don't like to have the same conversation multiple times. And over the years, you keep hearing, it's the shortest month, Black History is the shortest month of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, so all those people can stop complaining because now they have extra days to celebrate Black children. And that is why I launched it then. But it's funny because people are just like, they're always well, especially okay, let me back up. It's global. So people in the UK were like, well, that's not our Black History Month. And so I had to explain, like, I put it there for a certain segment, but obviously the week is for everyone. So
Yeah, I was surprised when I was living in Europe. I lived in Europe for 5 years, and I was so surprised that Black History Month was in October in the UK. And then they go so out with Black History Month. I mean, they do so many activities all throughout the country. I was like, oh, this is how you celebrate Black History Month. Loved it there.
and the reason for starting it was I just noticed like all the collective mourning we've done on social media, whether I mean okay, so one, of course, we witnessed the murder of George Floyd, but there have been so many other people who I keep saying I'm still in mourning over, names I don't even know. And I just noticed that we're always doing a lot of collective mourning. And I was like, you know what? We deserve more joy. Our children deserve more joy. Black people everywhere deserve more joy because I don't know anybody anywhere, any Black people anywhere who's not dealing with the uh impacts of um what I call the doom quest for white supremacy, but just the fact that it's not a reality that there will ever be like white supremacy. Like you can't be a supreme being. But I mean, the attempts are real, and so our children are dealing with a lot of racism, and that's a global thing. And so I said, well, you know what? We can globally celebrate them, and that was the reason for wanting to launch Black Children's Week.
And it's taken off really well since you launched it.
You know what? Because one thing I noticed, so I it was launched at an online forum that I hosted, and there were hundreds of people there. And I told them like, here's the mission. And the reality is, especially like Black authors and those of us who are self-publishing or traditionally published, we're already activists in our own way. Like we already we said, okay, there's very few books or not as many books or not enough books with Black representation. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna figure out how to find an illustrator. We're gonna figure out how to find an editor. We're gonna figure out how to get it printed. There's a lot of figuring out. As I'm also an author, so I know there's a lot of figuring out. And it's not, we're not just motivated by dollars, we're motivated by impact. And so I knew that this community of people would hear this message and be inspired by it. And the other thing about it is, and this is based on feedback that I've heard, people love that it's something that inspires them to do, to be part of something greater. That it's not about me. It's not about, the week isn't about me personally. It's not about my business personally. It's about this mission that already resonates with us. And it's something fun. It's something joyful. So I call it scheduled joy. And the other thing I will say, Black Children's Book Week has proven to be an activating force. So that is why it's taking off, because people are like, you mean I could be part of something that is joyful, impactful, and beneficial to the children I write for, the children I draw for, and to me too. Like people are promoting their books, they're selling books, you know, um, and I think, that's why it's taking off, because people see the excitement and the energy and the impact, and everybody wants to be part of it. And it's an accessible celebration. So there's a checklist. Everybody doesn't have to host events. Some people do, but you can also check out a Black book from the library. You can support a Black bookstore. You can host a Zoom with the children in your family and do a reading of a Black book. It doesn't cost you anything, or it can cost you money. If you want to host an event, you can do that. And I feel like, and even like some of the feedback I've gotten is like, I've had this book club forever, but when you put Black Children's Book Week on the map, I said, oh, I'm going to do this with my book club by Black Children's Book Week. I'm going to go harder. We're going to do more. And it inspired people to action. And I think that's why it's taken off.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, purpose behind that train that you have going on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's so much fun, like I I was out somewhere. I was the first day of Black Children's Book Week, I was supporting two Black bookstores. I went and I found two Black bookstores to support, and one of them, so I went to Spelman undergrad. One of the founders of Stories of a Colorful World is a Spelmanite, and we were talking because she was doing a pop up. Her bookstore is online, but she was at a pop up, and I was talking to her, and she was like, "Girl, Black Children's Book Week is popping." Like, I was like, girl, I'm just as excited as you, because I'm on social media just like everybody else. Like, oh my gosh, look what they're doing in Houston. Look what they're doing in California, because it's structured that online you can register the events, but everyone doesn't register their events. Sometimes it's in a classroom, sometimes it's in a church. Like a church emailed last year, for example, they're like, they were in Harlem. We had a book drive at our church. We just want to show you this display we created and we donated to our local community. um, and so there's so many things that don't make the calendar that I don't find out about until after the fact. And I'm always in amazement, like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So it's exciting.
Can there be maybe two events going on in the same city, or do you try to limit it to one event per city?
So
No,
it's
see
just like you're collecting all of the things. It's like a clearinghouse,
it,
sort
I'll
of.
just it's a place where, so I right. So I own this platform called Black Baby Books that makes it easier to discover children's books with Black characters. And that is the facilitating organization for Black Children's Book Week. So I launched it under Black Baby Books. But
Okay.
so when I launched it, I built like a technological platform under it. So there's a platform where you can register your event. There's a platform you can download the celebration checklist. There's a platform. I built a Black Children's Book Museum in the metaverse, and that is where I feature the sponsors for Black Children's Book Week. So you can go to blackchildrensbookweek.org and you can go visit, you can create an avatar and walk through an online museum to support our sponsors. And I did that because, one, it does, the technology under Black Children's Book Week costs money, but also every year, um, I invest, I use the money from sponsors and donors to invest in other Black authors. So like, thus far I've invested in the last 3 years. We hold a pitch competition at the end, and
Nice.
and each author wins $500. And I would say the majority of them have been kids. A lot of them have been kids who enter this pitch competition, and they come to this event and they say like, "Hey, I just launched this and I would like money to advertise it." Because I've learned that a lot of times, especially, and it's for Black indie authors, especially us, this demographic, when I did some research, we spend so much time trying to find the money to publish, the money to pay the illustrator, the money to print. And it's usually like the marketing budget is like the last thing that's on our list. So I said, $500 is actually a good chunk of change for an indie author for a couple of reasons. One, it can, the way I published my first book, I bought two illustrations from the artist and I said, hey, like I can afford all of them. What I'm gonna do is gonna buy a couple of illustrations. I'm gonna do a pre-order campaign and I'm gonna use these illustrations to attract, pre-orders. And that's what I did. And it cost me $500. Or a lot of people, there's online platforms you can advertise your book. It's for 30 cents a click. $500 can get a lot of eyes on your book. So that's how we came up with that amount. And it's been really, really cool. It's the third year. And the sponsors are like 98% Black authors and organizations. And we're reinvesting into Black indie authors who are very intentional about making sure Black children are represented in their books.
Wonderful. Do you have, I'm sorry, you were about to ask something, weren't you, Gwen? Go ahead.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about the African American read-ins and how this seems like it's an upgrade of that to be more digital, rather than necessarily having the read-ins in your city. You can connect with other people online and actually make it bigger, have more impact, reach more people.
But you know what I found has been so cool to watch? I mean, because honestly, first of all, let's be clear. I'm just somebody, I am a very obedient person in the sense of like, if I'm given a vision, you better trust that it's going to happen. Like, that's really my story. Like, I get a vision and I follow through on the vision. So that's the reality. So I don't never know what the impact is going to be. I just do the work and then I'm in all like everybody else, not in and I tell people all the time, every idea that I ever had has not been great. Some ideas you launch, you're like, I'm good. Next. I mean, that's happened to me a couple times, but this idea, the way that it just was like divinely inspired, I'm just going to tell you, because I was during this time that the idea came to mind, I had three or four members of my family in the hospital. I was going back and forth, and they were in three different hospitals. I was going back. There was all this stuff going on, and I was just like, I know I'm not expected to launch this in the middle of all of this. And then it was like, yes, you are. And I said, okay, well, here it goes. And so I guess, what I'm saying is that the things that are happening as a result of launching it are things that I did not anticipate, could not anticipate, and can't take credit for. And so, for example, when I had that launch event at the beginning, a couple years ago, there have been literacy organizations that have formed as a result of my launching Black Children's Book Week. So there's now a group in DC called Black Children's Books DMV. They host events with featuring Black authors all throughout the year. This past year, another one formed in Oklahoma, Black Children's Books Oklahoma. They're going to be doing the same thing. And there have been a lot of collaborations between Black authors who met at that initial event in the comment section and have met offline to collaborate to do something for Black Children's Book Week and beyond. I mean, they just had at Malik Books in Los Angeles, there was just this massive event. And I feel like there were like 6 authors who came together along with the owner Malik Books, Malik, to do this event. And when I saw the pictures and the video, I was just blown away. And so that's why I'm just so grateful just for the vision, because like the things that have happened as a result are amazing to witness. And the joy that people are like, the joy was the intention, and the joy that people are reporting, that they're feeling during this week, I just like it just blows me away, honestly. I'm so just really grateful that we get to experience this because I just really believe like we deserve more joy. I mean, because if you think about Black people, all the things that we're subjected to, we still we still have like birthed so many great things in this world, period. And I just felt in the last few years in my own family, but also just in the world, it's just been like so much sadness and mourning and destruction. And I was just like, this just can't be it. Like this just can't be it. Like I just will not do. I just can't. I won't accept that. And so that's where this idea birthed. It birthed from that belief that this can't be it. so so not saying we don't have fights to fight. Unfortunately, we do because people just can't get their last. I don't know. People are stuck in this cycle of terrible, but at least we have some joy. Some scheduled joy is what I call Black children's book.
Scheduled joy.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, Rhonda, have you heard about the one in the DMV that she mentioned? Have you?
I believe I have.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are a number of events, but I feel like the one that you're talking about in DC, I just saw that one on come across Instagram.
Sarah, I think her last name is Acors. I don't want to mispronounce her name, but her first name is Sarah. I think her last name is Acors. She's amazing. She's amazing. And the work she's doing in DC is amazing. So if y'all could talk to her, please do. Like she's just
I need to reach
great.
out to her.
Yeah, I'll connect you all via email.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Malik has been on the show, so we're familiar with him and his two bookstores in California.
Oh, I didn't know he had two.
He has two.
Oh, that's
Locations.
I gotta go out there. I haven't.
Yeah.
I have this thing where I'm trying to visit. I need to come down to y'all because I want to go to Kindred Books. Isn't there Kindred
Kindred
Stories?
Story. Kindred Story.
Kindred Stories in Houston. My god sister's best friend actually owns that. So I've met the owner, but I want to come to the store. So I'm like, I just need to put together a little tour of Black bookstores.
We'll be happy to
Come to the book festival in October.
Oh,
The
October.
National Black Book Festival is October 17th through the 19th.
Okay, so I need to come down there.
Yeah, and then you can kill two birds with one stone. You can come to the event.
October and then swing through DC in February for the Black History Month Literary Weekend.
Well, that sounds fabulous because I didn't know about the Black History Month Literary Weekend.
You're about to find out about it. I'm gonna send you the info.
Oh, okay, please do. Please. I was like, wait a minute.
There's lots and lots going on. So
yeah, I need to listen. Here's the thing. I promise you, I keep meeting such great people like you all just from launching this. So now I got there's somebody I gotta swing through Tulsa, Oklahoma. I gotta swing through Seattle. Like I was like, I need a whole budget just to go meet all the cool people in person. So yeah, no, Texas, I'm well overdue for Texas. And one of my Spelman sisters lives there too. And she's one of my favorite people. So I've been to Houston, but it's been a minute, so I'm overdue.
Yeah, and Houston is big, so
2003.
you didn't know where you were.
No, I know.
You might have been an hour away from where we are. It's still in Houston. That's
true.
Houston.
You said you graduated from Spelman in 2003?
Yep. Wait, hold on. Yes, 2003. I'm sorry.
We've had Atlanta on tonight.
I know it's
lots of Atlanta connections tonight.
Really? Yeah,
the first
I'm so
guest
bad
was a bookstore in Atlanta. And
she graduated from Clark Atlanta. And I was telling her my daughter graduated from Clark Atlanta.
My best friend graduated from Clark Atlanta.
He was in the house tonight.
My cousin graduated from Clark. I have a lot of Clark Atlanta.
You went to Spelman.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, I applied early. It was the only school I applied to, and thank God they let me in.
Well, you knew where you wanted to go. That's
my daughter applied to like 6 schools, I believe. And when the acceptance letters started coming in, she said, "I'm not saying yes to anybody until I hear from Clark Atlanta."
Oh,
that was how my daughter was. She applied to 2 other schools only to pacify her father, my husband, because he wanted her to stay in Texas she was not going to do that. She wanted to go to North Carolina Central. That was it, period, period.
Yep. Yep. She was like,
So
I got to go.
she said she had to go. You know, that's how she ended up going debt free. That's how I ended up writing the book, Rhonda, because my husband didn't want her to leave the state. My selling point had to be that it was paid. And so that's why that's how I figured out how to get her there debt free and ended up writing the book.
I love
And the
that.
rest is history.
I love that.
Did.
Who doesn't
She
want that?
Yeah, so but she did. I mean, it's but if you know where you want to go and you get to go there, that's the best. Even if it doesn't turn out exactly the way you want, at least it's the decision you made based on, it's not something that your parents forced you to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I when parents ask me about it, if they can figure the money part out, where you go to college is one of the most crucial and impactful things that happen in your life, especially
Mm-hmm.
during those years. And if you feel like you didn't get to go where you wanted to go, that's gonna always be in your crowd.
Mm-hmm. Especially you got to pay loans later. You were like, wait, I'm paying for
Right.
it. I'm paying
Well,
for this. I didn't
yeah,
want to go there.
yeah, I didn't want to go there. Yeah,
I was
so
asking you earlier, is there an age limit on the types of books that you all collect? Like, for instance, do you only want young readers? Do you want young adult readers?
For Black Children's Book Week?
Yeah.
Oh, so here's the funny thing. So after someone asked me this at the launch thing, and I said, and I stand by this. I can't tell you who your baby is. Your baby might be 18. Your baby might be 21. I just need you to understand the intention behind the week, and as long as it's in line with that, I'm cool. So I don't put any, I don't even have children. I'm not a parent.
that's
You know,
interesting.
no, you know
Mhm.
what I say I work for them. I believe I
But
like
you probably have more time to do this because you don't have to.
possibly,
Possibly.
possibly. But I think I've always, been dedicated to children, especially Black children, just knowing what I know. Knowing what I know is like growing up as a Black child in a world where your intelligence can be questioned. All these things can be questioned because of people's perception of Black, their internalized
They're
anti-Blackness,
prejudiced.
their prejudice.
Mhm.
And I say this all the time. I like my intention is very much just this, that knowing what our children will encounter, I just want when they encounter it that they recognize that this external force is the problem and they're not the problem. I don't want any of our kids internalizing any anti-Blackness. And I know the power of representation, especially positive representation, how impactful that can be. And I think that's why I do what I want to do. Because ultimately, I want to live in a world where people believe in the power of their dreams. They believe they can act in their ideas. They believe that they're beings who can do, like it doesn't have to be a grand change. It could be like whatever it is that they feel like they want to do, that they believe they can do it. And I know that if you do internalize anti-Blackness, you will be questioning your potential, just like the world can question your potential. There's so many things that can hinder our children, especially. And I know I'm very fortunate. I'm very confident, and I'm not. And this is not even in a pretentious way. This is not in any kind of like. No one will ever meet me and be like, "She is so snotty." Like that's just not how my soul's set up. But what they will encounter is someone who really believes in themselves and someone who really loves themselves, and that's why I love people so genuinely. And like that's, I feel like just I want more people to be like that, and I wanted to start with our children, and that's kind of how I got down this path.
That's beautiful.
That's a good, it is, that's a beautiful way to describe it. And it is always wonderful to be confident, not arrogant. There's a difference,
Mm-hmm.
but being confident in that whatever you set out to do, that you can do it and it can be successful. It doesn't mean that everything that you do will, but that's
Nope.
human. You know,
Or it
that's
doesn't.
all human.
Right.
Some stuff you try, it don't work, you know.
Yes.
It
I got
just
a whole
doesn't.
I got a whole closet of those.
But if you can figure that out fairly early and not, continue to throw good money after bad, or, you
Hmm.
know, um, yeah, you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them, as
Yes.
like the Texas hold them.
But you
So,
know what, else it is though, because I am a children's book author and I do readings and I do go into schools, or libraries, or I see how it like affects children, like the positive impacts of that. I see their faces, I see their excitement, I see, because I'm really clear, because this is the reason why I write. When I go read for my kids, the kids I wrote the book for, I told them, "Oh, I wrote this book for you." They were like, "What made you write this?" I wrote this exactly for you, for
Mhm.
you, because that's the only. I don't do stuff just to do stuff. I'm not. I I tell somebody. I told somebody, like, I never seek external validation. Like I have no need for it. Like, I validate myself. Like, I know why I do what I do. I'm very intentional. So when I see the kids, I was like, listen, this is all about you. I got to attend this really cool Black Children's Book Week event hosted by the local Urban League here and the recreational department for this town. And, I told the kids, I said, listen, Black Children's Book Week is about our love for you. And that's what we're trying to show you here. And it was so awesome. It was the Urban League of Union County in New Jersey and the Hillside Recreational Department in Hillside, New Jersey. And they were there with kids, teaching them how to write their own books. And they like left with their own books that they had written. And they were so excited. And to see our children being loved on and being affirmed, um, all over, has been just amazing to watch. And I'm still like, just, I don't think I've taken it all in, because it's just so beautiful. I get tagged in a lot of stuff. People are like, oh, look what we're doing here. And I'm
okay.
still going through all the tags, seeing what happened during the week. And I'm just really in amazement. I think it's really beautiful, the work that I tell people all the time, the work that we collectively are doing. So I might have brought the vision, but the people are bringing the power behind it. So that's
That's
cool.
great.
That's a great final word. I wish we could talk
Mhm, yeah.
longer.
I do have one final question for her, because I know we're at the end of the segment. Do you have the dates for your week for next year yet?
Yes, I do. Okay, so Black Children's Book Week always starts on the last Sunday in February. And
Okay.
yep, so this year, oh well, no, next year, right? We just finished this year.
2025 is
It'll be February 23rd, 25 to March 1st,
okay.
2025. Mhm.
Okay.
Actually, already on your Instagram because
It's it's already on there, right? I was like, no, right after I'll be like half sleep, recover for the week. Like, all right, let's go save this date for next year. They like, well, let's start plotting for next year now. So yeah.
this is why we're going to talk offline, because your event happens the day after my event ends, so we can work this out.
Oh yeah, let me know. I would love to learn more about this. Is in DC.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're in Houston, but your event's in DC, or
No,
you're in DC?
No, I'm in Houston.
You're in Houston. Okay, 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 okay. Oh,
yes.
then you really do need to meet Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay,
So
yeah.
that's what I said. Let's talk offline.
Yep.
We're already following each other on Instagram, so we'll reach out and we'll talk more. But I know we got to end because we have one more guest to come
Okay.
on.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to hold that. Thank you so much.
And
I'm
we
Oh,
so
thank
grateful that
you.
you all will have me a second time. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank
and thank you
you.
for coming and thank you for all you're doing for our kids. We put
Oh,
your website in the chat. So everybody make sure you visit the website, find out where there's a collection in your area, and let's continue to support Black Children's Book Week.
thank y'all so much. And I'll see you in Houston. I'll see you in DC.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.